and welcome to today's video where we'll be talking about why chronic illness fatigue is not the same as being tired. We use the word tired for everything, understandably. A long day at work, you're tired. A bad night of sleep, you're tired. A busy week, you're tired. But chronic illness fatigue is not just tired. And if you live with a chronic condition and you've ever tried to explain how exhausted you are, only to hear, yeah, me too, this video is for you. Because what we experience isn't just more tiredness, it's a completely different biological experience. In the first section, let's cover what people think fatigue is. Most people understand tiredness as something logical. You do a lot, you feel tired, you rest, you recover, you sleep, and you feel better. The kind of tiredness has a clear cause and a clear fix. And honestly, that makes sense. And that's how a well-regulated body usually works. But with a chronic illness, the model just stops applying in this clear, concise, and logical format. Chronic illness fatigue is not just about effort. It's not about motivation, it's not about discipline, and it's definitely not about laziness. And you've probably felt that yourself, and maybe people have mentioned that to you before. It's neurological, it's metabolic, and it's deeply connected to how the nervous system and circulatory system function in a body that works differently. In conditions like POTS and dysautonomia, the body has to work much harder to maintain basic functions that everyone else finds easier. Blood flow isn't as efficient, oxygen delivery can be compromised, and heart rate and blood pressure don't regulate smoothly. Hormones can also be affected. So even if you're resting, your body is still working a little bit harder and possibly over time. It's like running background systems that you just can't shut off. I often tell people that your body can be like a computer sometimes and there's too many functions running at once. So if you think about your phone and all the systems or apps that are open in the background that usually you would close and your phone would run more efficiently. In a chronic illness, it almost feels like you can't close those apps or can't switch them off. This leads on to the next section, why rest alone doesn't make chronic illness fatigue disappear. Sleep becomes necessary and it is very important, but it's not always restorative in the way that people expect. You can rest all day and still wake up exhausted. Not because you didn't rest properly, but because your nervous system never fully powered down. For many people, symptoms don't even show up immediately after activity. They show up hours later with a delayed effect, or the next day. That delayed crash can make fatigue feel confusing and unpredictable, and that unpredictability is one of the hardest parts to cope with. I talk about it as a protective mechanism because your body is a little bit more sensitive than the average person, and you're often working in that fight or flight system consistently. When you do something that's not regulating or pushes you a little bit harder, working harder, going to exercise a little bit more, or just something that day your body doesn't feel up to, it can cause these crashes and an over-exaggerated response to what the average person would just keep going on. And this is why you have those post-exertional crashes. Your body's trying to fight from an energy source that's not full to begin with. One of the most painful parts of chronic illness fatigue isn't just the exhaustion itself, it's the way it's misunderstood. Being told, everyone's tired, you just need to push through, you should try harder, you did it yesterday, so why not today? Over time, that messaging sinks in and it can have a big impact. People aren't doing it intentionally, but how you take it in can be affected. People start questioning themselves, feeling guilty for resting, feeling lazy for needing breaks, and feeling broken for not bouncing back. But chronic illness fatigue is not a personal flaw. It's a physiological limit. So how do we take all of this and now reframe this idea and notion of fatigue? Your body is not failing you. It's responding to a system that's under constant strain. When energy is limited, rest isn't weakness, it's regulation, and a very important part of managing your condition. And learning to respect fatigue isn't giving up, it's adapting. If this video resonated with you, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not imagining it, you're not exaggerating, and you're not broken. Your body is doing the best that it can with the information and the energy that it has, and that deserves compassion. If you want to share your experience, I'd love to hear from you in the comments or send me an email. And if you're interested, the next videos will dive into movement, exercise intolerance, and how to live alongside chronic illness without crashing. You're not alone in this, and I hope you feel heard today.